What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron, and we on the Nothing But Net radio channel on Dash Radio. And in today's show, man, it's a special show for me. This is episode 100. 100 episodes of Off the Ball. Man, it has been a hell of a ride. I didn't think I'd get past episode 1. A lot of people don't get past episode 1, and I'm here with 100 shows. So it's been a hell of a ride. I've been able to do some really cool stuff with a lot of cool people. Been able to start a network. I didn't think that was possible. Been able to, like I said, get my show on this platform on Dash Radio. Thank you for the guys at Nothing But Net Radio for giving me this opportunity. You know, just the hard work I put into. I'm just appreciative of everyone who even listens to it, even if it's for a minute, 10 minutes, wherever. You know, all the comments I've been able to you know, people just, you know, showing love to the show. You know, everyone who's listened to wherever. You know, I got a lot of people who listen to it in Ireland, you know, which is kind of crazy. You know, all over the world, you know, over the country. So thank you for everyone for listening, you know, to the show, and let's hope for 100 more episodes. You know, so like I said, so happy to get this going. And as my son is looking at me with ice cream, you could just open it. You're good. But I got two special guys with me that have been a huge part of you know, the growth of Off the Ball, and I'm happy to have them on today's show. I got Stephen Gillaspie of the Breaking the Game show on Dash Radio, and I got my guy VP of the Off the Ball Network, Mo Up in Flames Murphy. Guys, what's going on today?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? Appreciate you having me on. Just real quick, big shout out to you, bro. 100 episodes. This is only the beginning. You've done a lot of great things. You've let myself, Mo, the rest of the guys, you know, in on your journey too, man. And it's just been a pleasure. You know, my show that also comes on, Nothing But Net, wouldn't be where it is today without you, man. So big shout out to you. Just want to give you your flowers today, bro.
Much love, much love.
Yeah, bro. Same this way, bro. Like, you know, I can go all the way back to the beginning when I first started doing the podcast, bro. You were really one of my first guests outside of being able to link with Cruz. You know, you were one of my first guests, bro. And it was like from there, it was like we clicked on that first episode, had you back on, you had me on yours. And then it kind of became like, yeah, you're in New York, bro. I was in Washington State at the time. But it was like, bro, it became a friendship, bro. We were talking all the time, jumped on Instagram Live a couple times just to talk hoops, just casual conversation. And then it turned into like, hey, bro, I'm thinking about starting a network, and I'd like for you to be a big part of that. So I appreciate you for that. I don't think my show would be where it's at without you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'd be even have half the platform I have without being a part of Off the Ball Network, because it's been able to get me certain guests that might not have looked my way. And really, bro, it just you started like a whole family with the whole network and stuff. So, and shout out to you for 100 episodes, bro. That's huge. That's a commitment. That's a journey, and people don't realize how hard you really worked and how much time and effort you put in to be able to have a quality 100th episode and everything before that. Like, you have to appreciate 1 through 99 to appreciate episode 100.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, you guys have been a big part of it. Like I said, just being able to interact with you guys, and it's just crazy how we've bonded over this time, and we've never met each other in person, and we're all different parts of the country, but yet we've been able to establish a pretty cool relationship and do some pretty cool stuff at it while we're at it too. Like, we've been able to grow. You know, everyone looks out for each other, which is kind of dope. You don't see that a lot. You know, people looking out for each other, you know, promoting and just, you know, just doing all that stuff. So I obviously appreciate everyone, all you guys for doing this. And like I said, man, it's a hell of a ride. 100 episodes.
Man, I talk every day on our show when Austin and I, you know, who's another guy that you've kind of helped grow and develop as a personality on the radio and stuff like that. We talk all the time about our Twitter chat where, you know, we literally talk every day. Like, I'm not exaggerating. You know how you hear in big media, like, oh, I talk to this guest all the time. Like, we literally talk to each other every day. And it's just awesome like Mo said, that family atmosphere that you've created, bro.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about is family, and family is very important. And we've been able to establish a really dope family here. So, like I said, thanks for everyone for that's a part of the Off the Ball Network. Everyone who's listened to the podcast, and all the shows we've been able to do. Listen to everyone else's shows. Shout out to everyone who's been a part of this road, and only more big things in store. So this is just the beginning. Not just for my show, but for the whole, network and everyone a part of it. So we got some big things coming. But this is a basketball show, so let's talk some basketball. Obviously, the league, NBA, obviously, a lot of things happen every day. It feels like it's a soap opera every day, whether it's dealing with the COVID protocols and trades and all this stuff. But, I want to ask you guys, what's been the biggest, what's the biggest story right now for you guys that's going on right now in the league? This, like I said, a bunch of stories going on, but what's your guys' biggest storyline right now in the NBA?
Well, I think, number one right off the top is what Brooklyn is doing. We came into the season and largely thought that this was the Lakers, season to go and repeat. There are a lot of teams that didn't really improve a lot. There were teams that tried to make moves. You saw Milwaukee get Drew Holiday, and that's actually turning out to look really well. But some of those other names as supporting roles have kind of taken a step back, like DiVincenzo and whatnot. So we've seen teams come up like Indiana, like your beloved New York team. Oklahoma City looks good, even though they've basically stripped the boards off of the arena. They still look decent. They're only a couple games behind 500. So we looked at this season, especially myself, and I was like, okay, this is the Lakers' time to repeat. In the meantime, Brooklyn was doing what they were doing, and they added James Harden to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And it's just crazy to me, like, they were 2 games in and they lost to the same team twice, and there's a whole bunch of stories. Is Kyrie Irving a bust? Is James Harden, too out of shape? How long can Steve Nash keep this team together before it just blows up in his face? And then just yesterday, or the other day, right? Bam Adebayo, yeah, he had a heck of a game. Mo, this is your team, your beloved Miami Heat. Bam had a heck of a game. They were without some guys. But then when Brooklyn wins a game, my timeline was all crickets. There was no one on there bashing Kyrie Irving, who had 7 assists and made clutch buckets in that game. I myself am not a Brooklyn Nets fan. I just appreciate basketball talent and ability. And when we see big threes come together like this, we need to remember that every single big team that had been assembled, it takes them time to develop chemistry, to develop their rotations, to learn how to communicate on the defensive end, whose role is to do what. All of these things come into play when you establish a team that has such big names and big roles and big usage rates and things like that on a team. We need to remember that some of these guys are going to have to sacrifice. James Harden only dropped like 12 points in this game, but he led the whole team in assists. He was rebounding. They show great energy on the defensive end, even though that none of these guys are essentially world beaters on there. They still try. You watch this game and other games leading to it, Kyrie Irving is blocking shots. When's the last time we've seen Kyrie Irving block shots in a game? He's hustling out there. They're setting screens for each other. It's not just dribbling a hole on the floor like everyone was worried about. So, Chris, when you ask me what the biggest thing going on right now in the NBA is, it's this big three that could, I'm not saying they will, but they could challenge the Los Angeles Lakers in their quest for a repeat this season.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, and the Nets team, it feels like they're getting their groove right now, and they're definitely going to be a dangerous team. And this is a team that I picked to get to the finals before, they made the trade for James Harden because of Kevin Durant. And I think he's had, 4 straight 30-point games. He looks like Kevin Durant. Like, yeah. He hasn't missed a beat. Like, you would have never thought that this guy tore his Achilles, a year and a half ago, and missed all this time, missed the whole season. And he doesn't – I think we all thought, all right, no, as good as KD is, he's going to take some time to get, he's going to have moments where he looks like KD, but, he's still going to look rusty. No. He's
Kevin Durant.
He's Kevin Durant. Like, he's he's back. He's the same play, if not maybe a little better. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, he's definitely one of the MVP, candidates this year. He has played absolutely tremendous basketball. He's the same efficient, dominant player, that he was in Golden State and in OKC. He's the same player, and it's scary. And that was my reason solely, that I thought Brooklyn would come out of the East, is because that man is dangerous. And you had Kyrie, and now you got Harden to that mix. It's just a matter of time before they start clicking. We saw this with Miami. Well, your Miami Heat, when LeBron, Wade, and Bosh got together, they start off like 9-8? Like they were playing around 500 basketball. Now they got to the Cavs game, LeBron came back, and then they took off, and then everything was, obviously they lost him, but they still, they figured it out. Like, it takes time. I think people want, three guys together, like, oh, they should work. It's like, no, you got to work on chemistry,
And I think just real quick, to your point about Miami, we need to also remember that Brooklyn, as great as these individual talents are, they're nowhere near what the top two of that big three in Miami were. We're talking about 2 to 3, the best to ever play their position of all time. I think that you would look at Wade and probably put him above a James Harden in all-time ranks. You would obviously look at a LeBron James and put him over a Kevin Durant in your all-time ranks. And then Bosh and Kyrie Irving, they're not necessarily up there in their positional all-time ranks. Even when they played, they weren't necessarily the best at their position. They were in that conversation, but you couldn't look at them and say, hands down, they're the best at their position. So even with Miami playing at 500 level basketball, we can't expect Brooklyn to do the same thing when those guys weren't as individually talented as that Miami Big Three.
Yeah, of course. Mo?
Yeah.
What's your storyline of the year?
Bro, I'm going to have to go. It's tough because there's like two ways I want to swing it, but I'm going to have to go Philly. I'm going to have to go because realistically, like, Brooklyn is the storyline that's what I'm looking at. That's what everybody's looking at, whether it's in a negative, positive light. I'm going to go with what Philly's got going on. People don't realize Joel Embiid is playing MVP basketball right now. 100%. I'm not going to say
I think he's the MVP right now. I think he's the MVP.
He's up there.
He's there. Like, he's there. He has every right to be considered as anybody else that you put on that list. Yes, Ben Simmons still can't shoot. Not a surprise. But it doesn't matter. Philly is playing great ball, and it's starting to – bro, Doc Rivers, no matter what you want to say about him in the postseason, whatever, his collapses with the Clippers, I don't care. He's still a great coach. It's people don't realize what it takes to win a championship. So Doc Rivers he won a championship in Boston, and then being with the Clippers for so long, he fell victim to look at the dynasties that were going on. Look at the teams that were so good in the West while he was coaching a really good Lob City Clippers team. That's when
the turmoil involved
started.
With that team too.
Exactly, and that's when the Warriors dynasty started. It was, it just comes to one of those, like, when football, like, with Phillip Rivers, like, bro, he fell victim to have to go against Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Like, that's who and Big Ben, that's who you have to go through to win the Super Bowl. Not an easy thing. Doc Rivers fell victim to the same thing with the Clippers. Even last year with their down the playoffs, it was more so the players being unhappy and, a bunch of crybabies, this, that, and the other is really what came down to it. And he was going to have to face LeBron and the Lakers. If he beats Denver, he was going to have to go through LeBron and the Lakers. That's not an easy task. But what Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid look like as a duo is like, I see why they didn't pull the trigger and get rid of Ben Simmons for Harden. I still think Harden and Embiid would have worked, but there might be something beautiful cooking for a while in Philly because Ben Simmons doesn't have to shoot the ball to be effective, bro. He's an all-around player. He plays defense. He passes the ball. He gets rebounds. He hustles. You don't really see much of him effort. He's not a controversial player. He's a great kid. So I got to give the flowers to what they got going in Philly. And, Embiid is almost like he took the challenge of what everybody's been saying about him. He doesn't work hard. Because not only I've always thought Embiid, when he brings his A game, is a top 5 player in the NBA. But he doesn't bring it night in, night out, so you can't put him in your top 5. But as far as talented as he is as a 7-foot big man, bro, he's one of the 5 most talented players in the league. When you look at everything he could do in his size, when you add his size into it, he plays like a small forward, but he's a big man. So I got to give credit to Philly. I think behind Brooklyn, that should be the next big storyline. Great Philly looks. They click and they got it together. Embiid's happy to play MVP level basketball. Ben Simmons is continuing to get better out everywhere outside of shooting his jump shot, which is okay. Doc Rivers put Ben Simmons in the best position to be successful. Tobias Harris is playing good, and I think the biggest thing with Philly is like Seth Curry is playing outstanding basketball coming off the bench. Like right now, you have an MVP candidate, and you easily have a 6th Man of the Year candidate with Seth Curry. So I think he needs to get some love because he kind of falls second tier to his brother, and then you don't appreciate what he did in Dallas and Portland. But with what he's doing with that Philly team, he's just being Man of the Year as Joel Embiid is being an MVP, and as Ben Simmons is being the next, the all-star guy. So I love what Philly got going. And we talk about Brooklyn, but if Philly keeps this style of play up, they're not going to be an easy out for Brooklyn. Like, that could easily be the Eastern Conference Championship, could be Brooklyn versus Philly, and I think that could go 7 games. So, just shout out to what Philly got going. They got it right with hiring Doc Rivers as the coach. I think coaching is kind of showing coaching was kind of the problem.
And the Rookie of the Year candidate and Tyrese Maxey on that team too, if he continues his play moving forward.
And I think that's the biggest thing why they didn't trade Ben Simmons for Harden, because the rumors were that they wanted Maxey. Now, of course, I would want Maxey too.
Can't blame him.
You can't blame him. You're trying to get as much as possible to try to replace, James Harden, and getting Simmons and Maxey and maybe some picks, definitely is something I would ask for. And Philly didn't budge. And, credit to them. I getting a James Harden is not just, you're not just thinking about the player. You're getting more than just he is a big personality, a big ego, and they're playing tremendous basketball. So I get why they didn't pull the deal. And shout out to them because they're playing absolutely tremendous basketball. Like you said, Embiid's playing at a high level, and they're just playing good, Mo.
And to that point, just to ask y'all, I've had this conversation, I know with Steven. Do you think not pulling the trigger? Yes, I think it was mainly about Ben Simmons and Maxey, but do you not think like the age mattered of James Harden being 31? Like, I know I'm going to have Ben Simmons for a lot longer. I know I could keep Simmons and then Maxey being younger. Like, do you think if that was Bradley Beal, there might have been more of a quicker trigger to pull? Bradley Beal's 27 years old, 26, 27 years old, as opposed to, that was my biggest thing with Harden, was why, like, if I'm Miami, when it was thought that he might be, that he put the Heat on the list, I'm like, his age, I'd rather go for Bradley Beal. One, there's not that much of separation, which Steven has pointed out on multiple occasions. But even though I think Harden is the better player, it's not by much, it's by a hair. No disrespect to Beal when I say Harden's better. But I would have rather have had Bradley Beal, and age would have been a factor to me for my team. If I look at the future, Harden, everybody's not going to be LeBron and be successful at 36, 37 years old. Everybody's not going to be a star. So you can't look at LeBron and say, well, look, LeBron, a year 18, Harden's not going to be that guy. I'm not saying he won't be relevant, but he's not going to be a top 2 player in the league at year 18. So do you think age had something to do with Philly in their consideration of making that trade?
That's interesting. I never thought about that. Steven, what do you feel about that?
So I don't think it's necessarily age, but I think the reason why we're starting to see Brooklyn work is because of who Harden has around him, right? Like if Harden goes to Philadelphia, he's the guy. You know what I mean? Like, no disrespect to Joel Embiid, who's having a heck of a year. Ultimately, it's going to come down to perimeter play and clutch situations, right? And Harden would come in and be that guy. But in Brooklyn, he looks around him, he sees a former NBA champion and another former NBA champion. What does he not have individually accolades? Why? Is that team award, right? That NBA championship. So he can come to Brooklyn and realize, okay, I'm not hands down better than everybody else around me. Whereas if he goes to Philadelphia, he can look at a Joel Embiid and be like, neither one of us would want a ring, and I'm more talented overall offensively. And when the game is on the line, it's no doubt that the ball is going to be in my hand. You know what I mean? And the same thing would probably be with Bradley Beal, but Beal, I think, would be more appreciative of playing on a contender, right? Because he's been on a downtrodden Wizard team for so long. I just think that Harden If he didn't play in Houston, if he didn't finish out the year, Brooklyn is the only place where he can go and possibly, even in his own head, say, I have to take a step back because I'm playing with guys who have achieved more than me on a team-wise and are just as capable of taking the last shot as I am. And that's why I think it works in Brooklyn as opposed to Philadelphia.
And which we've seen so far with Harden, that you see, if you just look at the box score, if you just strictly look at the box score, you're like, oh, he's not taking the amount of shots you would think. He's not scoring the amount of points. And so we're kind of seeing, and then you watch the game, you're kind of seeing that, all right, he's kind of buying in that, like, hey, I'm coming in. These guys have won championships. This is their team. You know, I wanted to be here. I got to kind of not sacrifice your game.
Facilitate,
you know, just do a little. Remember, these are 3 of the top 15 guys in usage rate. I mean, these guys have the ball a lot in their hands, especially Harden and Kyrie. We know how much, you know, Harden dribble, 4 seconds left. You know, that's his type of game. But to see him buy in, you know, now sometimes he's still got to get a little bit more aggressive, and he's still got to get a little bit more shape too. You know, sometimes you want, hey, just go. But yeah, I think once he gets his conditioning fully, because, you know, obviously we know he did not come into the season in shape at all, to say the least. You know, we saw the pictures. I mean, the pictures don't lie. He came in just not motivated to play for Houston, right? The goal was to get out. He got his wish. Now it's time to get in shape and get rolling, because now you got big aspirations to finally get your elusive first championship. So it seems like he's definitely buying in right now. So that's definitely something that it's going to be interesting to see how it when it finally clicks, how scary it could be. And they're not done trying to get guys. They still have a couple roster spots available. I think they have
2. I think they
like
filled
$6
one.
million left and I think in the trade exemption.
A hardship trade exception. I think it's just under 6. I think it's like 5 point something.
Yeah, it's around that like $5 to $6 million range. So they can, you know, the buyout market. We all know, the Lakers picked up Markieff Morris last year, and that was a huge pickup for them in their championship run. So the buyout market, you know, they're definitely gonna be active there. So they still got a lot more things to do, you know, to complete this team and definitely get to that level. So I want to ask you guys this. Obviously, it's still early in the year, very early in the year. Teams have missed a lot of games, but give me a team and a player, both that's been a disappointment and both someone that's been surprising this for you. Mo, give me a team and then give me a player on both sides.
A team that's been a disappointment. I'm gonna go my Miami Heat, bro. Like, I'm being honest. I'm disappointed.
Not here, and they lost last. I mean, Bam had a hell of a game, but it seems like
did. But like I told Steven yesterday, you know, Steven was saying like, "Hey, the Nets win." I hear crickets, and I'm sitting here like, bro, this is the best I've seen my Heat look all year, and it resulted in a loss. So shout out to the Nets. Like, the Nets came to play. They looked really good. They played a Heat team who looked like our playoff team of last year, but it resulted in a loss. People won't factor that in with the Nets. So I'm disappointed with how the Heat have started this year. I know there's so many factors. COVID hit our team. Jimmy Butler's been hurt in and out. I understand that, but it still doesn't mean that they're disappointed.
Well, how long last season took up until and then the start of this season, you know, you and the Lakers were the most exhausted team coming into this year.
Yeah, but it's still with coming off of a finals, and then like if this short season that we've seen up to this point, the Heat wouldn't be in the playoffs. So you would at least think they could have been battling around that 4 or 5 spot to stand. There's so many factors with the Heat, but they still fell short of what people expected, like, you know, with Baby Goat Tyler Hero, the social media Baby Goat Tyler Hero, you know. So they've been a disappointment. A player who's been disappointing, man, nobody's really disappointed me as a player. I don't know. I might have to go back for the player. Now, somebody who I will give on the upside, there's so many players you could say
the players
have played way better than, so you could go a whole bunch of different routes. I hit one. I'm going to go Zach LaVine. Because we knew he's good, but like he's all-star level good right now. He's playing out of his mind. I don't want to say MVP caliber because the Bulls they don't have that record to back that up, but he's playing at a high caliber all-star level.
He's an all-star. He's an all-star.
Has to be.
He's an all-star.
He's
yeah,
gonna go
we could say that
all-star
at
game
least.
this year.
MVP talk is different, but
yeah, that's a different ball game.
All-star. He is
high
an all-star,
caliber,
sure.
like a capable all-star. You know, so I got to give him credit for as great as he played this year, and a team who has, I guess you say, outperformed or played better than I thought. Still yours. I'm going to New York Knicks. I'm gonna steal yours. I give credit to him because you might keep away from the bias, but I'm gonna go with the New York Knicks. It's the first time in some years where I
that just
really
made me
watched the
so
Knicks.
happy you said that, bro.
No,
I just want
I'm
to
gonna
say
give
that.
credit though. Is like it's the first time in years that like I've kind of wanted to sit and watch the Knicks. One, being around a lot of you guys that are from New York and Knicks fans, but then like they're not a bad team to watch. I watch them and I don't think about. I almost watch them and
Number
I'm
one
not a
defense
fan
in the
of
NBA.
team.
Number one defense in the
and
NBA.
I think about 2 years from now. I'm not watching the Knicks with, okay, what are they doing night in, night out right now? I'm thinking about how the potential they have to be in 2 years from now with all that young talent. They have a bunch of young guys. And you got to give credit, not for the Knicks' success, I think it's solely on Coach Thibodeau. Like, that was a crucified hire. People thought it was crazy. Oh, what? He's never been a winner. He only knows defense, da-da-da-da. Well, guess what? The Knicks have the number one defense, and the Knicks look like a capable – they could end up in the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference. You may not have to have a winning record. They could end up in that eighth seed, and you can't tell me to be one of the bottom feeders of the league, a coach comes in first year, and even if they get to that play-in game, you can't tell me that's not a successful season for a franchise that haven't even sniffed the playoffs for some years. So I think the Knicks is like a team who they've done a lot better than I expected. And then, like I said, Zach LaVine as a player, because there's so many players. I'm just interested in, who y'all gonna say. But there's not really a player that has disappointed me. Like I just look at him and be like, oh, he's not what I thought he was.
You disgust me. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't really want to put like a player who's not playing up to standard because I just can't think of one off the top of my head who's just, oh yeah, bro, he's not what I thought he would be. But yeah, that's who I got on the upside, and like I said, my Heat on the downside of they've been disappointing this far.
Gotcha, Steven?
Yeah, so I'll start with the player that I'm disappointed in, and it's not that I don't like him, it's not that I don't love his game. It's not that his team's not necessarily performing well. It's just in late game situations. The one player that I'm disappointed in is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's just simply because of the fact that he's entering this realm now with the number of individual accolades that he's had, with the number of times that his team has finished, top place in the Eastern Conference, losing to teams that I expected him to lose to. I was saying that that I thought that Miami would win, right? But those are games that, like, if you're going to be elevated into the top 1 to 3 players in the NBA, these are things that you have to do. You just have to do them. If you're paid to be the guy, you have to be the guy. If you're getting awards to be the guy, you got to be the guy. And now he's got players around him, and they're starting to do him a favor and go away from him in late game situations. If you guys have paid attention to that, they've added Drew Holiday. He's doing well. My guy, Chris Middleton, who I wrote earlier on for offtheballnetwork.com, I question whether or not he was the best player on the Bucks, right? Not saying that I thought that Giannis was a bad player, right? But just giving more shine and recognition to Chris Middleton because he doesn't do anything at a super elite level except for shooting, right? Which is a good thing to be elite at. He's an elite shooter. If we can celebrate guys like Duncan Robinson for shooting, let's please acknowledge Chris Middleton as well. He's a terrific shooter. But he doesn't really do anything poorly. Everything else he does at a above average to all NBA level. And he's been unsung. He's been an unsung hero for so long that we just have like these lazy narratives being recycled and regurgitated out to us. But anyway, back to Giannis, I just think that, the free throws are going to continue to be the thing that's going to get brought up because he has lost them some games due to missed free throws. And it is disappointing whenever you consider that free throws used to be one of the things, as we were growing up being coached, like you go to the line, you better hit your free throws. There's a reason that they're called free throws.
1 of 10, right? It was 1 of 10 game, right? He had. Wait, that's crazy.
one of the worst free throw shooting performances that's
inexcusable. Not even Shaq would do 1 to 10, or Wilt Chamberlain. Some of the worst free throw shooters ever don't go 1 of 10. And like you said, that's the one thing with Giannis is like, all right, the shooting, okay, whatever. But your free throws, they go 1 of 10. Unacceptable.
If you can attack, and here's the other thing too, he's not developing like a go-to move. His move is either he's developed the 3-point shot. I think he's around 31% for the year, which is good.
I mean, 31, 32, yeah, around there.
Luka Doncic last year was being praised for his step back 3, but he was finishing around the same percentage as Giannis Antetokounmpo. So these are just things that I look at, and it's like Mo said, this is just grasping straws. Other than that, he's freaking phenomenal. Like I love Giannis. I hate saying anything bad about him because when you do it, it invites unnecessary amount of criticism. Like, you guys know how it is whenever you like have a valid criticism that you bring up, and then people come out of the weeds and say, yeah, he's a bust. Like, come on now, let's slow down. I just wanted to point out this one weakness in his game. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought that up real quick, Steven, is because I've been battling. I haven't really said it to people. I've had this conversation with my dad, but I don't say it to people because it might sound hate. I'm starting to question whether Giannis is really a top 5 player right now. Like, he might be 6 or 7, but with some of what he doesn't do really good, like, especially I watch Giannis and, like, I'm not disappointed. I know what I'm going to get from, but the whole league is figuring out how to stop Giannis. And Milwaukee is not going to win a championship if Giannis has to be the go-to guy.
He needs to move
in clutch situations because now you've seen how the Heat have built the team and they were built to beat Milwaukee. That's why we were so high on the Heat beating Milwaukee last year. It wasn't a surprise to us. But now I'm watching the whole league play him like he's Ben Simmons, and then he's such a bad free throw shooter that even if he gets fouled, it doesn't matter. Like, foul him. He's not going to get buckets getting fouled, and he still has his 30-point games. But I'm just looking, and he's itching on me saying, like, I don't know if he's a top 5 player right now. And it's not hating. It's just evaluating what he does really good. But once the whole league figures him out, and the way they play defense, he's one of the guys that if you have him in your top 5, he's the one guy you could game plan for and stop. Out of all the players in the top 5 that you consider your 5 to 7, he's the only guy I think that you legit can game plan for and have a way to stop compared to Harden, KD, LeBron, Kawhi, all those guys, AD. He's the one guy you could game plan for and stop. So that's why I like what you said about Giannis, but it's not us hating. He's still great.
He's still a phenomenal player. It's just one thing that's disappointing. It's not that, again, not hate. I'm just disappointed in the fact that, like, my man's shooting 58% from the free throw line. Like, let's get that up a little bit. If you can hit 3-pointers, you should be able to go to the free throw line and convert from there. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that again because I don't want this to turn into a hate on Giannis session.
No, but everything you said is extremely valid. Like, he's like, it started actually 2 years ago in the Toronto series, but he got a pass, right?
Because he's not at that level. He's not a multi-time MVP.
That was kind of his first year being at that, like, LeBron KD level, right? But he got a pass because that was his first time, and, like, all right, he'll get better. Then the next year they have such a dominant year. Obviously, COVID, the stoppage. I think they're one of the teams. I think the team that got affected most by it because they rely on a lot that home crowd and all that, and being in the bubble. I think we've talked about that. Like Miami, They better not want to go play Miami because that could be a difficult matchup. And we saw what happened. And that's when this is the first time Giannis has gotten national criticism, where people are like, I don't know. Is he
even the casual fan, right?
Even the casual fan, like he was beloved, right? And people like, because everyone just loves to hate Kevin Durant and LeBron James, but he started getting legit, like, people like, I don't know if his game. And then we've seen it this year in clutch situation. We saw it in the Nets game, right? That was, big televised game on TNT. And we're like, why is he all the way at the other side? And then he's taking a running head start and it's too late by that time. And you're like, why isn't he in late situations? Why isn't he guarding Kevin Durant? Why isn't he taking that shot? If you're supposed to be that guy, I mean, listen, KD's taking that shot. LeBron's taking that shot. I know people have criticized LeBron, but LeBron's going to make a play or something.
Kawhi is going to take that shot. Steph's going to take that shot. Jokic is going to take a shot. Like everyone else.
It's kind of crazy. I remember that watching that game, and there's one play where he has the ball at the 3-point line, and legit the whole defense dropped. Like they all like it'll take it. And
Mm-hmm.
he still has to work on that because in order for the Milwaukee Bucks to be a championship level team, it's not just who they surround him with. It's on him. He's got to develop that because we've seen in the playoffs, like it's cool regular season, you could dominate, you're beating on bad teams, that's cool. Comes down to the playoffs where you're playing against those Miami teams who could know how to play defense, the Torontos, the Bostons. That's when it's going to come down to. And if Giannis doesn't develop that, he's just going to be in that. He's going to be that guy that, hey, he got a bunch of MVPs, but he can't get to the freaking conference finals. So he's definitely got to develop something. A little disappointment, so far. I mean, he's still having crazy good numbers. He still have, but everything you said, Steven, is absolutely valid with Giannis. With the criticism because it's true. It's absolutely
costing them. It's literally costing them games. If his free throw, if he wasn't at the line in clutch time situations, literally throwing the game away. Not saying he's intentionally missing free throws, but when you miss them, that's what happens. You like Mo said, you can plan around them. So that's why I bring him up as a disappointment. Because other than that, like there's really no one that I came in this season with high expectations on that hasn't met them or exceeded them.
Exactly.
Like that's the only reason why I'm bringing him up.
Yeah. The other side is there's a whole bunch of guys that have played out of this world so far. Who's one of your guys?
And I could give you 12. Right? But I'll go ahead.
We can make an all-star team of guys who have played out of this world this year so far. There's been a lot of guys who have broke out so far.
There's so many guys I want to name here, but I just want to say Jeremy Grant in Detroit. Like he's a guy that's not really getting a lot of love or support or recognition or the like, right? But I mean, the man is just playing great. He's having such a phenomenal year. He's averaging 24 points per game. This was a guy that at times was coming off the bench in Oklahoma City and even in Denver. This was a guy that
pretty much everywhere.
And now he's in Detroit, which granted, someone has to kind of be that guy in Detroit, and they're last place in the Eastern Conference. And I have this theory, like if you come to the NBA with the ability to score, if no one else is on the team, you can insert almost any guy who came into the league to score, and they'll get you 20 points a game. I wholeheartedly feel that way. But it's not just the fact that he's given them numbers. Like, it's not just like, okay, we have to give it to Jeremy Grant because we don't have anyone else. Like, man shooting about 45% from the floor, just under 40% from deep, and 85% from the free throw line, and he's playing great defense. It's not really translating to the rest of the team, but he himself.
That has nothing on him. We know the construction of that Detroit team, and it is abysmal. They're
in the Cade Cunningham sweepstake. Like this team was put together for them to lose. I mean, he's one of the many forwards that they have on this team. But there's so many guys that there's so many guys I would give this to. Now, as far as the teams go, I have to look at New Orleans Pelicans. I was really high on them coming in. I don't mean to take your shine, but I was looking at the standings and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this team has got, Zion Williams, they got Brandon Ingram. Like everyone was saying, Stan Van Gundy was going to come in here and do great things. This was a guy that I just kind of looked up his background on like how he's regressed throughout. Like there's a reason why this dude wasn't looked at coaching for quite some time until he hit the booth, right? Like he steadily regressed from when he made the finals in Orlando, steadily just regress, went to Detroit, got too much power. And we talk about this offline all the time, when sometimes just good coaches get too much power. You look at Thibodeau right now in New York, he's coaching the heck out of your team now, but we judge him when you hold that many hats on your head, they bleed together. We criticize your coaching ability on your ability to get transactions and vice versa, right? Like we criticize your ability to go and sign players when you can't really coach them that well, right? So sometimes they bleed over, and I think that Stan Van Gundy had that happen too. But you're looking at this, there was so much expectation on him to take this, transcendent talent in a Zion Williamson, and they got Brandon Ingram, they got Lonzo, they drafted well. I think that we were all high on Kerry Lewis Jr.
The defense has been so if you look at the first 5 games, they were playing some pretty good defense, and that's what people got excited about.
They got Steven Adams and Steven Adams got a triple-double.
Yeah, Lonzo is playing like all NBA type defense. Zion can make some good defensive plays.
Hart's a capable defender.
Like Bledsoe is still, he struggles with some things offensively, but still Bledsoe's a solid defender. And you just look and like they're giving up a lot of points. they're giving up a lot of points, and they're definitely disappointing for sure.
So I was just disappointed in them. They're a young team, so it's kind of excusable at the same time. Like you understand, and not only are they young, but when you have like such huge roster turnover coming in on the season, you got to figure it out. Like you mentioned earlier, Chris, like it's still young in the season. This could be a team that ends up in the play-in or maybe even a lower seed in the Western Conference. But
they need to find an identity, though. It feels like they got an identity crisis.
And to just call back to what we were just saying in Milwaukee, Zion is getting too much at the end of the game when Brandon Ingram is such a terrific finisher. Like he should be the guy in the clutch minutes to get the ball in his hands, a la what we see with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, right? Like they're figuring out an identity, but they have that go-to clutch perimeter play. They have that in New Orleans right now in Brandon Ingram. And this is a guy that I wasn't really high on when he came over. But ultimately, like I think that he should get the ball in his hand. But a team that's not really getting a lot of love and recognition are the Utah Jazz. They got criticized for the extension that they get, even by me, to Rudy Gobert. They didn't really add much coming into the season. Mike Conley Jr.'s, $30 million contract kind of hamstrung them a little bit in that aspect. But they got Bojan Bogdanovic coming back off the bench. Joe Ingles is playing well. My man Jordan Clarkson's playing well. The Spider getting disrespected by Shaquille O'Neal, which I could go all day about how trash that was on Shaquille O'Neal.
We'll get on that this week because that I have a lot to say.
That was such trash.
There's not enough show for that because that was trash. But
Chris, that would be like me coming to you on your 100th episode today and be like, "Hey, man, you're one of my favorite podcasters, but I don't think you're ever going to make it." Like, what? Yeah. Who does that? You know what I mean? Like no one. We all know
Shaq's petty. That's super petty. I mean, he's always petty. Like when it comes to Barkley getting at him, but that's a whole other. We'll get into that this week on one of our shows this week because I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, but ultimately, I don't want to spend all this time on Shaq because that's what he wants, right? But back to Utah, like they are just tearing it up in the Western Conference, and this was a team that I didn't really look at as being one of the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference. Like they are tied with the Clippers in overall record in the Western Conference, and something that I had no expectations of them being able to do. And they didn't even really draft well. Like none of their rookies are coming in doing anything. They're a cohesive unit. And
had a slow start too.
Had a slow start. And shout out to Quinn Snyder, I love coaches in the NBA. I pay attention to coaching a lot. Quinn Snyder is one of these dudes, man, for a long time that like he's behind a lot of other really good coaches, but I mean,
he never gets any love.
He's Rodney Dangerfield, can't get any respect, right? Like tugging at your tie there. But if he was coaching like say 10, 15 years ago, like this dude would be a top 5 NBA coach. That just speaks to how much improved the overall coaching process in the NBA has gone up, despite what people may say about blowout games and defense and stuff like that. There are some really, really good coaches in the NBA, and Quinn Snyder is one of them.
Yeah, and you mentioned Utah and their ascension. That has, Donovan Mitchell is a big reason why. He struggled early in the season. He was shooting around, at one point he was shooting around, I think 36 to 38% from the field, averaging 18, 19. And we're like, okay, was the bubble a mirage? Like, was that legit a mirage? Because we've seen this with Jamal Murray too, where he's hasn't performed up to the bubble standards. And now we see Donovan Mitchell, is just absolutely killing it lately. The last 10 games, I think he's averaging 27 a game, shooting close to 50% from the field. So he's been a big reason why they've had, that ascension. And they played good basketball. They did lose to the Knicks, let's add that in there.
Just throw that in there right quick. No, but how about Rudy Gobert too?
He's been playing great too.
But
offensively.
Mike Conley's
played
back. Last year he spent a lot of time injured and stuff like that. And Mike Conley, I don't want to throw out too many numbers, but I think he's averaging about 17, 18 points a game and about 6 assists, somewhere around that.
He looks like a little bit like Memphis Conley.
Yeah, he's 16 points, 7 assists, shooting.
Yeah, so he doesn't have to go. Everybody thinks if you're not averaging 23 or above, you're not a capable NBA player. But it's not about that. Like, that's what Donovan Mitchell, that's the guy who needs to average 25 plus.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert needs to give you about 18 to 22. Yeah. I'll say even 18 to 22 with him being considered an all-star player. But even still, he could give you about 15 and give you 12, 13 rebounds, 2 to 3 blocks a game. And they're going to be – they have a good point guard in Mike
Jordan
Conley.
Clarkson too, man.
Joe Ingles.
Jordan Clarkson's been really
Another,
good.
like, 6
efficient this year. It's not just he's scoring. He's been efficient
as
hell.
Man of the Year candidate. Like, and then Joe Ingles, we know he's a shooter. You know, shout out to all the math teachers in the world, but, you know, he's a shooter. So it's like they've put together a team. It's not all about, well, you know, Utah's not the most exciting to watch. Utah, you know, this ain't LeBron. You know, they don't have what Brooklyn has. We don't want to. But that's kind of how the Spurs built. That was their recipe to winning championships. They weren't the most exciting, even though Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward of all time. Of all the great players, he was one of the most boring players to watch. We weren't excited to watch the Spurs on TV, but they created that culture and that great team, and year in, year out, they compete for championships. They in the playoffs. So I think Utah can do the same thing. I'm not going to say win as many championships, but when you're a great team, it's going to carry you a lot farther than just having one or two great individuals and seeing where we could go from there.
Yeah, and then we talked, too, about that large roster turnover. Utah has largely stayed the same. And, you know, you look at all these teams that are struggling, they have added all these pieces that they got to get used to being around one another. Utah is one of the teams that they only added like 2 or 3 guys on this roster that weren't there.
It's kind of the same team for the most part.
As far as like impact and usage players, they're all the same dudes.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, they're playing good. They're coached. They coach really well. And they
love Quinn Snyder.
Yeah, they've really played some good basketball of late. Like they seem like they're finally clicking. You know, they're finally playing. You know, I think they won 6 in a row, 8 in a row.
Yeah,
they won 8 in a row.
They're tied with the Clippers in second in the West. Yeah.
So it seems like they're clicking, and you know, like I said, Donovan Mitchell has a big part to do with that. And you mentioned the Pelicans, and I'm going to go into my disappointments. And you mentioned the Pelicans, man. They just haven't played it. They, like I said, an identity crisis. It feels like, you know, Zion and Brandon Ingram are their leading scorers. They're playing great. I think they're both averaging around 24 a game, but everyone else, it drops. You know, Bledsoe is doing, you know, as good as he can in his role, you know, playing the combo guard, you know, but Lonzo hasn't played great. You know, it seems like the point guard situation, we thought that was going to be kind of a strength in them. You know, obviously they added Kyra Lewis in the draft, Alabama, and having Lonzo, it would, you know, Bledsoe would kind of be a strength. And, you know, we haven't seen the great point guard play. And like I said, the JJ Redick hasn't looked the same. You know, so they're trying to figure things out, you know, but they've definitely been a disappointment for me. My biggest surprise, Mo, you hit it, the New York Knicks. If you told me before –
you didn't see this coming? You didn't see this coming, Chris?
If you told me before the year the New York Knicks through this point of the season would be 8-9. Now, they just lost the last game to Sacramento on a back-to-back, you know. But to be 8-9 at this point in the season, I'd be like, stop it. I would be like, stop it, you know. And to tell me that they're the number 1 defense in the league, you know, and one of the top defenses, you know, against the 3, and protecting the rim, top 10 and protecting the rim, I would just be like, nah, chill. Like this is a 2. This is, if you told me this next year, I'd be like, okay, I could believe, because I have 1 year on the Tibbs. But this year, no, I just didn't expect this from the New York Knicks. Let's just be frank. We did not expect this from the New York Knicks. We were talking about Julius Randle possibly getting shipped off, because I don't know if you saw any of the posts, like the Zoom interviews before the season. He just didn't look engaged. He, you know, obviously they drafted Obi Toppin, and that was a signal like, hey, you know, I was like, oh, they're going to trade him. It just
get it together, buddy. Yeah.
And I think the best thing to happen for Julius was that, in a way. You know, like, hey, you know, we're letting you know that, hey, like, we, you know, you have to step up your game, you know.
He's on that list of guys, bro. He's on that list of guys.
Hands down.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to put him there, too. I'll like, just do it. Yeah. I don't think anyone saw Julius Randle playing this good of basketball, where he's He's,
I don't even think he did.
Forward, and his numbers have dipped a little bit of recent, but you can see he's a little bit tired, and like we've had some injuries. Obi was out for a few games.
Throughout the season, you hit your slumps. Like you're not superstar level, so you're gonna hit your slumps. But like he would be an all-star player right now. Like
this wasn't on the scouting report for other teams. What he's doing right now,
exactly,
no. And that's a big reason why the team's success is not because he's known for doing this stuff, like his style. But it just when you watch him play, his awareness, his basketball IQ is definitely broadened. Like where he's finding that open guy instead of going to the hole against three guys and forcing a bad shot. He's finding a RJ in the corner, or Reggie Bullock in the corner, or
Emmanuel Quickly
in the corner, and he's able to make those passes, not force, take good shots. Right, he's taking. His 3-point game has gotten better. He's just playing he's being a playmaker, making smart plays. He's still going to do his stuff, and he's a bull. He's doing a lot more, getting the post, being a bully, and that's the big reason why the Knicks have had to. And Mo, you said before, coaching was
that's the biggest deal and especially when I remember like when he got hired. I remember Knicks Twitter was pissed. Like I don't know how you looked at it, but I don't. He was my number 2. I wanted Kenny Atkinson because with the way that it was like all right, development, right? And that's the thought I would go. But everybody was mad. Everybody wanted. Oh no, that's not the coach for these young.
I didn't love it at all. I thought it was a bad hire.
But and did I think it was a great
It still could
hire?
be.
No, it very well could be. They could hit a wall, and it could just be some early success. But at the end of the day, one thing a Tibbs team is going to do is they're going to play defense. You look hard at them Bulls teams. You look at them Timberwolves. Now, it was tougher with the Timberwolves because he had some younger guys.
Personnel.
And he was also the GM, too. So, like, we've seen that with Doc and a couple other guys where when you're the coach and you're the GM, those two actually bump heads with each other without even knowing, right?
You don't give anything your undivided attention.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he has some personnel
just be the coach
with,
and just worry about coaching and let the GM work with the GM. But that's a Stan Van Gundy. We saw that it didn't work out in Detroit. Like he actually made the team a kind of a mess. What they're doing right now. So it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work.
But your Knicks definitely. I just want to give one more. DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is having a career year under everybody's eyes, and we're not paying attention because
his passing too, man. Playmaking.
The Spurs aren't the exciting team as
they're in the playoffs
usual,
today. Yeah.
But DeMar DeRozan is actually having a legitimate one of the best years of his career, and it's coming where people were kind of writing DeMar DeRozan off as he's not an all-star level player anymore. And now look at him; he's having an all-star level season.
Can we expand the all-star roster from to more players? Because this is going to.
I was just about to say that. Like,
as long as Bradley Beal's on the team, I'll be happy because the fact that how do you lead the Eastern Conference in points at 30 a game? Not like the average points.
The NBA.
The NBA. He was one of the leading scorers behind Harden, right? Harden average or whatever. He was second. He didn't make the All-Star team because of wins.
I was just about to say what Steven said is like. It's so many guys playing at all-star level on top of the all-star guys playing at an all-star level.
Yeah.
There's going to be a few, that's going to be an interesting show and conversation when we see who gets shafted because there's going to be a couple players. I don't think it'll be a Bradley Beal, but there's going to be a couple players who don't make the all-star game.
Could be a Jeremy Grant, and that's going to make me real sad.
Jeremy Grant's going to be this year's not the same thing as Bradley Beal, but he's gonna miss it because of his team just being so bad.
But
and name recognition.
All of our guys, it's possible all the guys that we named are playing at all-star level. It's possible none of those guys make the all-star game. So, there's going to be a few guys where we're going to be weighing and be like, we're going to make an all-star team of the guys who missed the all-star game, and it'll be an adamant team with adamant numbers. DeMar DeRozan could be a guy who missed it because he's in San Antonio. They've never been a franchise to get that much shine, especially ever since Duncan and them left. They're not winning championships, but that's going to be a great conversation as who got shafted. Christian Wood, another one.
Another improved guy, another guy who could be on that.
That's what I'm saying. That list of guys.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah, exactly. Like that list could go on for days.
Milwaukee still regrets
everybody,
that.
But
I don't care. Milwaukee regrets they picked him over Bledsoe, and no disrespect to Bledsoe, solid player, but what Brogdon can do for your team, man.
There's a universe where they could have Holiday, Middleton, Giannis, and Brogdon all on this team right now.
Yeah.
There's a
He was
universe.
over a couple $1 million a year of with Brogdon and the injury history, like, and that's real. But what Brogdon can do, he's a 50, 40, 90 guy. Those guys you just can't.
20 points per game, yeah.
You can't get rid of guys like. And I
Passing
think
the ball.
had they had him last year, maybe they get to the finals. And we're talking about Giannis in a different aspect, but losing Brogdon was huge for this team.
He impacts the shape of the defense on that team, and we're seeing it in Indiana now between him and Sabonis. He was an all-star last year, even better this year. Like.
He's another guy. We could do a whole show on guys, and we might have to do a show like that.
I would love to give guys flowers that don't get them. I would love to.
We'll talk about guys who deserve to get their flowers, like you said, Steven, because, I mean, you look at Sabonis, and he's
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander might not get it either, and he's tearing it up in Oklahoma City right now.
There's just so many guys like this.
Let's expand that. Let's just, between the three of us, we're going to expand the All-Star roster. With our powers combined, we could probably we
could probably do an All-Star edition, our own All-Star edition show, and see who makes the All-Star team with our criteria. Steven,
because it's still 12 points. It's still 12 players right now, right?
Yeah.
The league is so deep. The league is so deep, man.
I had three more roster spots. What does it hurt? I mean, baseball has everyone make the All-Star team. 40.
It's tough though, because the league is so deep. Like,
yeah, man. There's so much talent.
Great. There's so much talent everywhere. Like, don't even be surprised. I think my Bradley Beal this year could be Jaylen Brown. I think he could miss the All-Star.
He could have got it last year too, and he's even better this year.
Believe it or not, I would not be surprised if he's the biggest name that doesn't get in. I don't know what their criteria will be, but I feel like Tatum wins the popularity vote. Yeah. And you could be looking.
I mean, I don't know if Tatum gets in because obviously he's missed time with the COVID stuff, but
hey, it's next month I think is when it's named.
But Tatum could possibly win. He could possibly win a popularity vote.
He might start. That's the thing.
Like it's possible that he wins starter votes because we vote on that. And Jason Tatum, when you start seeing names of forwards, you're going to see in the Eastern Conference. Well, but he is in the Eastern Conference, but you're going to go like KD, Giannis, Jason Tatum, like them, the first three names that'll pop up, especially
Gordon Hayward.
Another one, like we gonna have to make this a show, bro. Like we gonna have to go show.
There's so much.
We might have to do like the way they do it with the two leading vote getters and just draft an all-star team because that's how they do it. And CJ McCollum would have been another guy before he got hurt.
Yep.
Because he's having a career year too. He's averaging I think close to 27 a game, and he was having a hell of a season.
We just gonna have to label the next show we do giving flowers, and we just gonna go over everybody who just deserves some type of credit. Bring attention to even guys on the smaller markets that are playing really well and they're not getting the credit they deserve because
of course
they don't sell headlines. They're not LeBron, KD.
They play on a small market team. Yeah,
that's what guys like us are here for. Because
even guys like Clint Capella, Capella's having
he had a triple double.
He had a 20. I think he had a 26 rebound game not too long ago. He's having a
triple double with blocks.
That's some Marcus Camby type stuff.
That's some 1990 stuff.
It was the first time since I think 2001, and it was Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah.
In Atlanta was the first time
somebody had triple
double with blocks.
Marcus Camby had to do that more free.
No, it was
Marcus Camby had to do that more recently.
I'm telling you, I've seen it. It was he was the first person to get a triple double with 10 plus blocks.
Having a monster season
since Dikembe Mutombo in 2001, and Dikembe Mutombo was in Atlanta.
They had when Marcus Camby was even when he was in Denver. I want to say
Marcus Camby was doing a lot of stuff. He was Defensive Player of the Year one of those years. But
I'm not saying you're wrong, Mo. I'm just saying in my head it doesn't make sense because
you would think Camby would probably be in that where like the triple doubles with block shots. But I mean, look,
I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense.
I want to make sure because I've seen that. I've seen that, and it surprised me.
Sometimes those stats are wrong, though.
That's also true.
But it's crazy. Like you look at Clint Capella, he's averaging 14 and 14. He's having a monster season. And once they click, You know, it's going to be interesting to see when Atlanta starts clicking, you know, how they'll look. So there's just so many guys, like you said, we could do a whole show alone on who deserves their flowers and all that, because there's a lot of good players who are just.
So many
it was
good
a
players.
franchise. It was a franchise.
That makes sense.
So, okay,
yeah, because like the Mutombo thing, it definitely makes sense for sure. But
that's it's a franchise thing.
A lot of guys. So yeah.
Confusion.
I mean, Hassan Whiteside might have did that one year in Miami too.
Yeah, like those Miami.
I don't
Whiteside
remember, but I know he was playing out his mind that 1 year.
That 1 year,
and then we gave him some money, and you know,
some players that's all they want. They want that big contract, and then they're ready to.
Especially a guy like him, bro, because he was playing at the YMCA. He went to Marshall. He was playing at the YMCA, like. You know,
hey,
a guy
man,
like
go
that.
Get your money. Go get paid.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm not
man.
worried about championships.
I ain't mad at him.
I played great. I get my $100 million. I'm good. Like, bro, I was just coming from living with my mom's playing at the Y. I got my $100 million.
Sure.
I don't have a legacy to build. I don't
cash out.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, because there's a lot of guys. Like I said, we could definitely do a whole show on guys who deserve
Terry Rozier. Yeah,
Terry Rozier. I mean, that's another. I mean, we could. It's crazy that you just look through certain teams and you're like, whoa, wow, he's balling this year. And it seems like there's a lot more guys breaking out this year. And I don't know if it has to do with just the environment and just
we got to do a most improved team. We
could do a whole roster.
10 players.
Yeah. Because
then that can become a debate on who we leave out. Like we can make.
There's still going to be somebody else getting stuff.
There's going to be guys who are left out that were like, oh my god, how do we leave that person out? But there's just so many breakout guys this year.
The league is deep.
The league is so deep, and it's going to get richer and richer by the year with all
and
these.
And there's some breakout rookies. Like that's another thing is, you know, Patrick Williams in Chicago, Halliburton in Sacramento. Like there's some rookies.
Wiseman,
quickly for the Knicks. You know, quickly has been amazing for the Knicks.
People like question the Patrick Williams pick. You know, Chicago, and he's playing really good. But you know, at the same time, guys like him, bro, when they come from Florida State. You know, you don't necessarily see their
hit and miss with Florida State
because they only play within that system. So some of those guys who have that talent, you don't see that in college. But, you know, that goes back to, you know, something about that Gilbert Arenas has said about sometimes guys' game isn't college material, but they're pro ready right away.
McDaniels.
We saw that with like James McDaniels, Cole Anthony, guys like that who were high, you know, top 5 prospects coming in, you know, out of high school. And we see them have some success this year. You know, obviously
they got to run a Princeton offense.
Yeah. You know, when you go to college, I mean, we watch college basketball. You guys have watched it, and you just see how slow the game can be. You're like, come on. Like Kentucky, you look at Kentucky, you're like, you got too many athletes on this team to be 4-9, 4-10.
They need a playmaker. That's all they need.
With college, it still has that high school flow of the game where you run sets, you run plays, you run a motion offense, you play 2-3 and 1-3-1 and 3-2 defense. Like it's not, you know, just grab your man and play ball. You know, they have all those. They still can play their zone defenses and all that. So that slows the game down, and that takes away from athletic ability, takes away from some of those guys who can score at will in a man-to-man style.
And they play big lineups too. You know, they run 2 traditional big offenses.
As great as there are coaches in the NBA, it's still in college. It's only a step up from high school. It's still, you know, my system, my way, or whatever. College coaches haven't given up to just let me go grab stars and let the stars don't run college sports.
Of course,
where stars do run the NBA. Like you know what I mean. Like you can all these good teams nowadays don't have stars. They're teams who have 3 or 4 year guys on their team. Their whole starting 5 is juniors and seniors.
Well, yeah, you look at Baylor. Baylor's got a bunch of juniors and seniors. That's why those teams win. Gonzaga has a bunch of them.
Hey, Chris, I'm about to do it again. Look at Ohio State. They playing really good basketball.
I was watching
Mo H.
I was watching Sunday yesterday, and I thought he was going to go without talking about Ohio State, and he just happened to just bring him up.
Got nothing
to do with the conference champions, but Mo just got to bring him up.
We went college, you know. We went talking about juniors and seniors.
Now,
we weren't even talking football though. Like that's the only time you should.
We still bring him up.
I love Ohio State
has a good team this year.
We know you do. We're just saying.
I just love OhioTate, and if I can throw them in there, I throw
Ohio State University. You're just gonna rename it. But there's a lot of good basketball going on, you know, which is good. You know, hopefully, you know, COVID doesn't ramp it too much, you know, because you know, obviously, that's still real. That's still real. So hopefully protocols go away and are intact and everyone follows, so we continue watching basketball. And but guys, this was a pleasure. I appreciate you guys hopping on episode 100 with me. This was fun. Like I said, 100 episodes, man. This is it's crazy.
Congratulations, man. Can't say how enough how Mo. I'm sure he's same way, man. Like it's
100%.
It's incredible. Like you have done so many great things, bro. And I know this is only one small step in the grand scheme, bro. But just take a moment and appreciate what you've done so far, bro, because you've earned it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'd appreciate that. Like I said, it's still crazy, and like I said, looking forward to 100 more and 1,000 more, whatever more. But getting to 100 is not easy. Like you said, that they say in the podcast where I think like 60% of people don't get past that first episode, and that's hard. We all had that first episode where you're like, is this
cringe, bro?
Is this worth it? Like,
we can all look at our first episodes, bro. We can we can give, hey, bro, you go check out mine, I'll go check out your, and we'll all laugh at each other.
Yeah,
we should do like a re-listen and then criticize our own.
We should do a watch.
I don't know if we should criticize, but I think we could just make it a comedy show and sit here and laugh at each other. Like, oh man, bro, you sounded nervous. You sounded like you didn't want to do it.
No structure, but it's also it takes that mentality to know that, all right, I got to keep working. I got to listen to other people's shows. I got to do my research. I got to know how to do an intro. And you don't think about that when you do a podcast, right? A lot of people assume you just talk, and it's just like, yeah, you could do that, but people are going to listen to it and be like, well, this isn't good.
It's the stuff that nobody sees that's the most important. Like this is the easy part. It's everything.
It's everything before that and after that is where people like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to edit. What's editing? How do you edit? People don't. I didn't know how to edit in the beginning. I didn't know how to put my intro music and how to get an intro song.
Creating a schedule, inviting people on,
making sure you have notes. How to get a guest? What the hell is that? Like, when I first got Coach and Jay Stevens. Like, I remember, shout out to those guys, because I always go back to the first episode that I did with them, and I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just happy they're on. And I remember it was right after Kobe passed, and we had talked about that, and I had no structure. Let's just talk. We talked about the Washington R team when they were our team, and we talked about
R words.
Yeah, and we just went, and it's just crazy how everyone has, we've all evolved, and like I said, just a path, like I said, Mo, interacting with Mo and Jeff. I mean, I remember Jeff posting stuff on my page, and I'm like, who's this guy? Like,
yeah, I remember
who's this guy posting on it? I'm like,
shout out to Jeff, because when I was doing it, when I first started it with Cruz, I didn't have my own show at that time. But Jeff was showing love to our show. Like, he was listening, checking it out, he commenting, and I guess, Cruz had previously knew Jeff. But I'm like, man, who is this? Like, he was kind of gassing me up. Like, dude say I'm pretty nice. And then come to be able to link with Jeff and meet with Jeff. And like, well, Jeff is one of those, like, bro, he'll gas you up, bro. He's going to make you feel like you're the greatest thing of all time.
And you don't think that because you're just starting off and you're like, but he really likes my stuff. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, like, Jeff was gassing me up. And I was like, man, like, he was talking about Cruz. Hey, man, that gas Mo do da-da-da. And I was like, oh, man, like, I could do this for real. Somebody feeling it like that. But, that's what Jeff does, though. He going to gas everybody up. And he makes everybody feel great.
If he feels that way.
But, yeah, it is. Like, he doesn't just do it. He sincerely means it. But, like, if he feel you got it, he going to gas you up. Like, Jeff will be one of those, like, even when you don't think you're there, but he's your hype man. He gonna keep you going. Like, nah, bro, give up, bro. You're great. But he doesn't pass that out lightly either.
And that gives you motivation to. And I tell this to everyone who like, how do I get people to listen and all that, and how do you know if the show is successful? Like, I think that's another thing, and it's like, all you need is one person to tell you that you like your show, and that could keep you going. And that one person can turn into 3 people, can turn into 5 people, can turn into how many other people, That's all you need is the one person. Because because a lot of people just want, like, they're like, oh, I don't know, my show's not good, it's not getting ratings, and all you need is that one person to tell you, hey, your show's good. And then that'll get you going enough to be like, all right, the next episode, I'm gonna just work on it that much more. And then, like you said, it just to continue evolving yourself as a host, as a, you know, an analyst, whatever you're doing, whatever type of show you're doing, and just growing and learning and knowing that, you know, you just can't, you know, don't look at numbers, just do the show, be consistent with it, and then everything else will come with it. You know, so
for sure, man.
It's been a fun ride, and like I said, this was a fun show. We've done a lot of cool stuff, you know, since we started, you know, everything, you know, not with just the show, but with the network, and we got some more cool stuff going. So before we sign off, Steven, Mo, tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, sir, and just again, big shout out. Appreciate you having me on for 100. As great as a milestone it is for you, it's an honor for me that you even let me be here for your 100th episode, man. So just you can follow me on Twitter at StevenBTG. That stands for Breaking the Game. If you're listening on, you know, on Nothing But Net channel on Dash Radio right now, you're going to hear me later on today as well. You know, Austin and I, we do the Breaking the Game show. You can follow that show on, you know, Twitter and Instagram at BTG NBA Pod. And you can check out all the written work and stuff that we do at, you know, offtheballnetwork.com, where you can get all your sports needs.
Yep. And Chris, you know, bro, it's an honor. Like Steven said, bro, it's an honor to jump on here and celebrate your 100th episode. And especially with our stories of, you know, where we all work together, from all three of us have worked together. So, you know, but being a part of the Off the Ball Network, like, it's bigger than just, oh yeah, we talk sports. Like, you know, it's bigger than that. And
it's family, bro.
Yeah, you really created that platform. So your 100th episode should be more about what you've done with it. And what, like I said, the journey from 1 through 99 is why you come and celebrate the 100th episode. But you set the standard with the network, and, you know, not just anybody could get in, but we allow anybody to be in who's willing to put in the work. And it's a family environment. It's different. So I appreciate you for having me on, but y'all can follow me everywhere, Up in Flames Pod on Twitter, Instagram. Get your podcast wherever you get your podcast at, or if you want to follow my personal accounts, Mo_Cheese15. I always say I'm more active on those just because that's where I have the bigger following, so that's what I've had for longer. So typically I'm more active on those. But like I said, Chris, I appreciate you, and congratulations again on your 100th episode.
Respect, man.
I appreciate the love, guys. Like I said, it's been a fun ride, and appreciate you guys, you know, hopping aboard and trying to make this, you know, make Off the Ball Network something really special. And we're definitely on our way to do it. Some really big and some really big things for the network. But you could find me, you know, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff, Off the Ball Pod. You can go check out, you know, the live show right now is on Off the Ball Pod. Also check out, like I said, offtheballnetwork.com. Great stuff, great articles, a lot of good content. Please check that out. Check out all the sponsors on there. Shout out to Monkey Knife Fight and all that, Jazz Sportsbooks, all the good sponsors that help, you know, that are part of the, help us, you know, do stuff on the network and all that. And, like I said, OTB_network on Twitter. You know, shout out to all the guys. Like I said, shout out to Edgar for
Edgar's the man, dude.
For doing some to helping out with the, you know, posting stuff, posting some good videos and all that. He's always killing it. Like I said, shout out to everyone. You know, there's so many guys. You know, I can shout out to all you guys for killing it with content and all that and all your shows. Big things happening in 2021. So 100 episodes. Thanks, like I said, once again, thanks everyone for being a part of this, the 1 through 100 ride. It's been a hell of a ride. And like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for hopping on, and everyone for listening and supporting the show. You know, it's been crazy, but you know, like I said, big things coming in 2021. But I know, guys, Steven Gillaspie, Mo Up in Flames Murphy, Chris LeBron, Off the Ball Pod, Off the Ball Network Prez. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we got big things in store in 2021. So on that note, guys, be kind to each other. And like we like to end it off on most shows, I got a nice saying. Don't be racist. Take care, guys.